Well, Canadian football fans, it's all set. Crazy division final last weekend saw Hamilton take out the crossover team, the Edmonton Eskimos, in the Eastern Final. So the crossover team is still on that drought, having never won the Grey Cup. Hamilton, for Hamilton, this is their third appearance in the game since I started watching this, which was in 2013. They went to the game in 13 and 14, but didn't win, and they hadn't been since. They hadn't been since 14, but this is their first trip there. And Hamilton, like I say, Hamilton had a pretty great season overall, and finished first in the East to earn the right to host the Eastern Final. And because Edmonton beat Montreal soundly to get to this point, but they were not enough to tame the Tiger Cats. So the Tiger Cats are back in the. That's amazing. That's amazing. 3 appearances in the last 7 seasons. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And who are they facing? The Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Blue Bombers took down their CFL rivals, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now the Roughriders were looking to get there for the first time since they won the thing in 2013. And I think Saskatchewan started behind from the get go. They made it close. They made it interesting, and it came down to that third down play, and Winnipeg stopped them. So Winnipeg is playing for the Grey Cup, and they don't get many chances to play for the Grey Cup. As a matter of fact, both teams haven't won in a long time. They have not won the Grey Cup in this millennium. Hamilton's last championship was '99. For Winnipeg, 1990. And of course, when I started watching this Canadian Football League, there were 8 teams in the league, and Winnipeg was actually in the East Division because the West was basically BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. It was the Lions, the Stamps, the Eskimos, and the Rough Riders. And because Winnipeg was actually closer to the east and to the west, Winnipeg is kind of like the Chicago of Canada. They can be considered east, but they can be considered west in some forms. They're really a middle of the pack. They're really middle of the pack in Canada. But because but when it was an 8-team league, Winnipeg was in the East with Toronto and Montreal and Hamilton. It was when Ottawa got football back with the Red Blacks that Winnipeg was moved to the West Division, and now they're in there with Vancouver and Calgary and Edmonton and Regina. And those are named cities, even though the Lions play in Vancouver, but they're the BC Lions. It's the Saskatchewan Roughriders in Regina. But So really they've had some tougher competition to deal with because the West, for what I've learned in the few years I've been watching this, the West is a better division than the East. It has been for a while. This was kind of proven 2 years ago when Toronto won the division at 9-9, but won the Grey Cup, which is the thing. But the West is a beast. Because Calgary and Edmonton, those are 2 dangerous teams. Saskatchewan, if they act right, could be kind of lethal. Winnipeg's usually good enough too, and BC's good if you catch it the right way. But the crossover is going to come from the West. That's the thing. But Winnipeg had a pretty well. Winnipeg's kind of on a Cinderella run. They had to play both games. They finished 3rd in that West Division, which meant they didn't have a home game at all. They didn't have a home game ball. They had to go to Calgary, but they won, defeating the defending champions, and they had to go to Regina and win. So Winnipeg versus Hamilton is going to be good. We Americans can see this game on ESPN2. It'll air uh, this Sunday. Well, today's officially Sunday, so it'll air today at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. Of course, TSN will have it in Canada, but it'll be on ESPN2 here in the States. So that should be. For me, it's part of a fun-filled day, full of NFL, mainly Packers Niners on NBC, Survivor Series, and of course I got the Grey Cup. That should be interesting. I don't know who I want to win. Either one winning would be great because I kind of had. I always have a soft spot for Winnipeg, mainly because Chris Jericho's from there. And yes, I'm a Jerichoholic, and so because of that, I say go Bombers. But yeah, it's gonna be a good game. I think it will be. It's gonna be a good close game. So I'll review that I'll review that. I'll review that as soon as possible, very shortly after a champion is crowned. It shouldn't be too long. And of course, I'll review week number 12 of this NFL season after the dust is settled. So stay tuned for that. And with that, I say to fans in Canada and here in the States, enjoy the Grey Cup Championship.